So I am Tanqueray Edwards, and I'm the owner of TR Edwards Consultancy. And Janesta Herring is here with me, and she is the owner of Essence Technology. We are sponsoring this event. We have a series of workshops. We may have different sponsors as we progress. But the intent is really to bring more awareness around artificial intelligence to really help your small businesses. Today, I'm going to lean into a small business. My whole premise around my company is to support small business with AI to, that time to do more meaningful things. So at the end of our session, the intent is to really have you jumping into your small workshop goals. Fundamentally, I want to also share with you what AI is about. Terminology, you might hear a lot of things, AI, deep learning, machine learning. So we're going to cover some of those natural language models. We'll cover some of that terminology. And then I want you to just be able to feel confident enough that, hey, I've got a solid framework to start thinking about in my day or for my business. So I'm going to provide you with a framework. It's RISE is the acronym, so you'll have that. So it'll be about 45 minutes. Please jump in, ask questions when they come to your mind. I'm not one of those folks that wait. In fact, I would love for you to take out your phone and scan this code. So I want to ask this, general question, and we'll results in a second. But just ask this question, what is your biggest AI related business challenge right now? What are some things that come to mind? But out of curiosity, what comes to mind are there other things that come to mind for folks?
My word would be efficiency in general. Absolutely. Yeah, for personal.
It's just the unknown when your computers can't have using typewriters.
Yeah. With the carbon.
Computers, okay?
Yeah.
And now we sit back and we go, what's a typewriter?
Right.
Okay, so I always look at things, if you don't change, you're going to die out like a dinosaur.
Yes.
Okay, if you don't make that change, you're going to die out like a dinosaur. So you just have to.
Great insights. And a part of the work that Janessa and I are partnering to do is really help organizations, one, understand their data, also understand what policies you need, what type of guidance you need, the governance. We can also support with data literacy, so coming in, training people so they understand. Because sometimes if your team members don't understand, they will resist. And you've already spent, a lot of money on a new thing and they don't understand why. So the context of why now, what if we don't? We are going to die out. There's so many blockbusters, a lot of those stories, right? So we can certainly support your organizations with that. All right. So all of the things that you shared, just wanted to reemphasize that you're not alone. Our presentation, I was did a presentation for Public Sector HR Association. It's a mouthful. I had to pause and think about it. And all of the things that you mentioned, the fear, the hesitancy, not really sure where to start, all those things came up in our conversation. And I know I have small business here, but we can support larger entities as well and have. But really, it's around finding them to automate for leverage and also have a human. You cannot just automate everything for the sake of automate. So we want to get some clarity on what is AI, automation, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to highlight really quickly some stats that I found very interesting around small business. So 99.4% of this South Carolina's economy is built off small business. The top two industries are construction and professional services. Things what Janessa and I do in the consulting space to real estate, any type of professional services business. Very interesting. Right. So there's a lot of opportunity. Where do we even start? Right. How do you know where to start with AI for yourself? But then you can also bring those things back to the organization. And so the best thing I've always shared, and I've been sharing it anytime I talk, is think about something very small to do, which is why I wanted you guys to jump in, because I mentioned this before we got started. We're going to do a thing really quick, automation. It's a widely known tool, tested, tried and true, secure. I do not get any proceeds for recommending them. I just like their tools They're easy, because even if you leave here and want to continue, you can so you don't need an expert in the room. All right, so let's start with the fundamental definition of what AI is and what it is not, right? We have, AI has been around since 1970. That's the year I was 51 years. But it's now becoming more mainstream and we are touching it and feeling it. And any stuff in your cart online, it's going to come back to you and say, hey, you got that thing left in your cart. And by the way, that's kind of the ways in which we interact with AI on a daily basis. Information in itself. It's really thinking about those prescriptive follow-up emails. So anytime you get an email, and this is just a illustrative example, anytime you might get an email in your box that says request for proposal, set up an automation to then, send out and say, thank you for your message. We'll be back with you. And which those are, think of that as automation. That's all under the umbrella of that not all AI is created, right? And sometimes you have automation and artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is made up of deep learning and machine learning. Machine learning is when a machine is taking a lot of historical data and learning from its patterns. Deep learning is kind of taking it to another level where it's learning from the patterns and also anticipating what their next move might be. So those are foundational things. And that's what makes up the natural language models that we all interact with. Who interacts with ChatGPT? Who interacts with Google Gemini? Yep. So those are the models that are leveraging these technology. Now, automation, I want to lean in here a little bit more. For automation, think about it as if you might have like a workflow. When I say workflow, you're leading an organization, you have an employee who is manually to come in between October and November. This is a really exciting. And you want them to not have to handle this once. There's a lot of human error that can come into that. Maybe she doesn't, reach back out to applicant number 401, consistent interaction with your organization. What we've done is taken that manual process. We take all the intake forms that come in from their website, push it to a server. We normalize the data and that information to their CRM system, their customer management system. And then in the middle of that is some automations when people get a consistent email. Thank you for your application. We would love to have you as a vendor this year. So your customers are going to have the same experience. That can be extrapolated to school systems. That could be extrapolated to any type of business. So that's what I mean by automations. It could go beyond the email and can actually help with a lot of the tactical things that your teams are doing. And you don't want them to do, right? You want them to think about higher thinking things, critical thinking things that really take maybe some collaboration. So I'm going to pause a minute and introduce this and have us think about this. So RIPE is an acronym, a framework that I have been using to help you think about what it is you want to automate. So is the task repetitive? Are you doing this over and over again? Is it applications? Does it involve moving from one system to the next, 2 more systems? In the example I just shared with automating those 400 forms, this is prime example. We're moving from 3 different systems. Now she doesn't touch any of those systems. She just gets an email that all of the information has been uploaded to the CRM system and she can go and validate, right? Because we still want some human in the loop. And then from inner application to predictability. So can you write a clear if then, kind of rule? Is it predictable? Predictable decision making, not something that's nuanced or sometimes I do it this way and sometimes I do it this way. If the person is coming in from this workflow, then I'll do it this way. If they're coming in from this channel, I'll do it this way. It has to be the same way every time, right? So this require, as you think about this framework, what does it require from a leadership perspective? The things that come to mind for me are you got to have a process. Yeah. Yes. We can't just automate everything that has never been written down and never tried and true. Some systems in place. So oftentimes I do find myself taking a step back and helping companies and leaders document their processes, and then I'll leave them with those processes. I want you to work those. Sometimes what's documented is really not what's happening, right? We all know that. So it's important to have a document process. And then the E is efficient, right? We want to make sure that it's efficient. I want you to take about a minute and think about a minute or two and think about processes. You can do personal or business related. What are some processes that you think you can kind of run through this right filter? And you can write them down. I would encourage you to start, kind of cataloging these things. You're going to come back to this at some point in time and start creating some automations. You can start on it today, or we can start on it together some other point in time. We're going to have another session in November where we go deeper into automating. Bring that list back out and work on it. Anyone want to share? Don't have to, but what's coming up on your list?
We probably won't answer the question because of what we do, but we worked in the school district managing thousands of applications for certain programs. We have systems, SOPs in place.
Okay.
As far as the email responses, we often have to, if it's common, but then there's always some unique capacity, some unique thing in the person's email that we might have to have, someone read it and then come and have a tailored response. But at least
In that context, some of it is unique and not the exact same every time.
Right.
But some of it is. So filtering out where is there a true and response? Because it's the same question that keeps coming up, and others that are a little more nuanced. Yeah. But within that framework of, because there's a like this and that. If you can't explain the decision making process, then make a computer movie.
Yeah.
Right. So having to filter out between the two categories of responses.
yes, but very, it's very tailored. It is an application process that is clean. It's the getting those people to complete the application with their clarity and understanding.
Yeah.
Those are unique questions.
So maybe there's parts of it that could be automated. There's parts of it that would need a human interaction. And then maybe there's a world in which you have a chatbot that is loaded with your mind. And when I say your mind, I'm meaning like your brain.
And to be able to decipher between the two categories.
So I can go to the chatbot and ask it questions about the app. We have it. So right then action. I wanted to share these couple of business challenges. So you could do content creation. A lot of us do that intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes we create newsletters and I say unintentionally because you think, oh, I'm not creating content. You're the one that's creating the newsletter for your organization every, couple of months or weeks, or you're communicating with your team members consistently. So that's content creation. Document management. So how your emails are flowing in and out of your mailbox. And then customer support. So again, using like the chat bots as a form of automation to help with efficiencies. If you're getting the same questions from your customers over and over again, these are the kind of ways in which you can start thinking about automation. All right, so we're going to now just kind of pivot a little bit and do more of the rolling up our sleeves and taking this into action. I'm going to show you how you can start building Xavier. This should only, this should only take a few moments. And I smile and laugh because I've called myself building this Xavier. It was a few months ago. I think I shared it with Janessa. Mm-hmm. You have to have a spirit of curiosity. You got to have fun with this. Don't take yourself seriously. If it doesn't work, fine, let's move on to something else. Or let me ask for help. And in my case, I spent 6 hours trying to build no code automation, which is what Xavier is, for aggregating the top 8 news sources that I love to read and summarizing them into a feed that I can just go to every single day and just get a summary. Then I can also take some of that information and build my newsletter, right? Mm-hmm. It took 6 hours, and at the 6th hour, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I spending so much time? I actually have developers who could have built me a code base. Don't take yourself seriously. Just play, have fun. If it doesn't work, it's okay. So we're going to look at Zapier, actually test sending emails to my inbox that have a words around contracts, proposals, those types of words. I think I have it set up for a proposal. So when any email comes to my inbox, which is the trigger for the Xavier automation, if it has contracts or proposals, it's going to then go to my Google Drive and Google